When you're trying to accomplish something, you have to make that decision long before the workouts. It needs to be that thing that you make that mental note to yourself, like, this is why I'm doing it, and leave it at that. I'm Dalilah Muhammad, and I run the 400-meter hurdles.
Dalilah is the blueprint for the world record and how to run the women's 400 hurdles. You know, you can't say world record without saying Dalilah Muhammad, and that'll be from here into perpetuity. She'd do well if she was doing anything that she wanted to do. She could be the president of the United States and do well, or she could be, you know, I don't know, herding cows and do well. Ah, there we go. That's smooth.
I was born in Rochdale Village, that's in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Rochdale Village is maybe like a 2-mile radius, but it doesn't have any streets that cross in between, so the kids are like able to like roam free. I was definitely a very active kid. I was always running around in my neighborhood, and my first coach, he noticed me just like running, you know, racing the kids in the neighborhood, and just begged my mom for me to join the track team, so that's kind of how I got started. Couple world titles, Olympic champion, world record holder.
All right, D, so listen, I want us to be able to, you know, push ourselves a little bit, right? So 17.5, 17.5, 17.5.
Cameraman, thank you.
Go sit, let's go.
Just a small girl growing up in New York City with a dream to be great one day, and I feel like I was never the athlete that had the ultimate or the easiest success, but the athlete that always wanted it and was willing to work as hard as I could to get to the top, and never really gave up until I got, or trying to get there, I should say.
Alternate single, quick leg right, left, down and back twice, same space, and then we go double, and then we go to some long accelerations. All right?
It's definitely a team environment, and you need a team. It's the team that makes you better. I mean, I personally think it's so difficult to do track and field alone. Even to just die in workouts, having someone that's dying with you makes it that much easier, and I couldn't do it without that. It's a surprise, but it's one of our teammates' birthdays tomorrow, so we're surprising her with karaoke night, both groups. Everyone gets to party.
I think the US girls are honestly absolutely fantastic. All of us have really set the bar really high. And anytime you get that many girls that's able to run 52 seconds, it's going to be something phenomenal.
We are 2 weeks out from Tokyo, and we are definitely not relaxing. This is kind of a time where we are honing in on all of our workouts and just making sure that, you know, we are dialing in on everything.
Who's my first victim? I mean, my first athlete. To the finish line. To the finish line. To the finish line. To the 400-meter finish line.
My name is Gianna Woodruff, and I run the 400 hurdles for Panama.
Gianna Woodruff is my very good teammate, you know, my training partner, my right-hand man, definitely one to look out for.
So I definitely like competing and training with the athletes like who I will run against, and I couldn't imagine doing some of our workouts separately just because like they can be really hard, and it kind of helps to have other athletes kind of doing it with you so that you guys can, you know, grow together and possibly, you know, maybe die together at the same time.
You're going just like that for everything. So just still and just keep your shoulders forward, and then that way you can make everything go forward instead of going back.
Yeah, just get ready for the Olympics. Just keep my eye on the ultimate goal of trying to bring home a medal. You know, I did try tennis once for a year. I did play tennis. I was not good at all, so that's really the mystery behind that one. I can get the swing, but I just was never very powerful.
I actually bench a little heavier, which I was surprised about.
You?
I did. So I was about to tell you the number until I realized we was on camera, but it was pitiful, but it was better for me. I met Coach Johnson in high school. He came to my house on a recruiting trip. He was trying to get me to go to his college at the time, which was Virginia Tech.
I'm the second most famous coach. He is the guy.
No kidding. What's your name?
Todd Lane.
Todd Lane.
Boogie Johnson.
Oh, that's right. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we all know it. He definitely has a huge personality, definitely a jokester at practice, definitely keeps the vibe very chill, but also like we play, but we really work hard.
Dalilah was the best prep, I would say, sprint, hurdle, jump, whatever, in that class. And I figured that if I could add her to the mix of athletes that we had at Virginia Tech at the time, we could be like a super team, a super hurdle team at that. And I missed on her. She took her talents to Southern Cal. When I had the opportunity to coach her, she came to me in like 2016, right before the Olympic Games. It was a no-brainer for me. I jumped all over it because I knew that she had the necessary skill set and talent to really be special. And I thought that with my enthusiasm and guidance and her athletic ability, intelligence, we could make some things happen, and so far so good.
Honestly, from day one, we've just kind of meshed, and it's been definitely a dream team. Something that I've kind of done early in my career, especially when I started working with him, was kind of letting myself go in a sense and just trusting that he could tell me my limits. I think so much of our brain and how we are as people, we're gonna give ourselves a limit. But for us, when we're trying to reach goals that have been completely unattainable, you have to push yourself beyond what you even think your limits are. So for me, it's been kind of giving another person control in a sense of what they even think my limits can be so that I can go past it.
He has a plan, and we trust him, and I trust his process, and I trust everything that he has put us through. It's definitely not easy, and so there are moments where you're like, man, like, dude, what are you thinking? Like, what are you doing? But he sees the greatness in you before you can see it in yourself, and he just wants you to get out of your own way and get out your head. So that has been like the most important thing for me, that like I can do those workouts, and he has helped me to build up my mental toughness that like, you can do it, G.
When I'm talking to Dalilah and I'm talking to Gianna about what we want to do, we always talk about taking athletes out to the deep end. We want to take you out as far in the deep waters as we can, just to see if you're ready to really compete with us. Like, we're going to take you way out there where it's blue and it's deep and it's sharks and it's treacherous, because we don't want you to be comfortable at all. It's like we climb Mount St. Helens every day. Sometimes we die on the side of the mountain, and sometimes we make it all the way to the top. So for us, on those tough days, I said, hey, I'm taking you all the way to the deep end, and I hope you can swim. Push, push. Push off the ground, push onto the ground. Take off pushes, lead leg pushes, take off pushes, lead leg pushes.
I think it definitely helps having someone that's right there that can continue to push you. I think that's no mystery at all. But I think more importantly than anything, you have to have something that's innate within you, that asks yourself for more. In 2016, I had run 52.88, and I think I've constantly asked myself since that day to want more.
How Dalilah and I train are definitely different, because she can master some of the longer workouts, and I'm like still mastering them. But she's just like one of a kind. So I don't know. She inspires me a lot. Like, that was really one of the main reasons why I was really like so drawn to the group. I would say that she is fearless and relentless, and she's just, I don't know, I feel like she kind of took me under her wing, and, I've just been, kind of seeing how she's improved a lot over the years, and especially in her professional career. So I kind of feel like I can relate to that, like in my professional career, you can kind of like achieve and be who you want to be. So yeah, she's pretty amazing.
You have to coach to the talent that you have, and Dalilah's talent is different than Gianna's talent, and that has a lot to do with the things they come to the party with. So, Dalilah might come to the party with the chips and dip, and then G might come to the party with the cups and ice. So everybody got different party favorites, so we got to work with what we got.
How about if I feel the motivation while I'm running to go to 7, I'll go to 7.
No, you got to lock into that.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes you're like, damn, sometimes I'll be like, I could have went to 9 when we only had 8. I've learned so much in this sport, and so at this point it's just something in me that has to give it back. Sometimes I even think I overstep sometimes with Coach Johnson. I'm like, oh, let me take a step back. But I think it's just me wanting to just help the next athlete and knowing that I can be of service and that I can help and just wanting to see them do well. I think for me, that's all it's ever been about, but even more so now as an older vet in the sport, I can't even help myself. I have to. That's all right. Reach between the legs. Grab it and then up top. So my father is an imam, and I think it's played a big role in who I am today. And I think it's even played a bigger role than I even expected it to. I think, Islam was taught to me as a child as a person that's just living with their God-given talents and using those talents to move in the world and living your true self in a sense. So I think for me, that's kind of how running I got into it. And I think for me, that's kind of been that driving force for me of just doing something that I felt like I was good at and feeling like, what can I give back to the world through my running and through my career. I started seeing it as me more so as being a vessel and letting God speak through me through my running.
I don't know if anyone's broken the world record outside of maybe a pole vault or something, twice in the same year.
Within 2 months.
GOAT for a reason. Literally, the GOAT. Greatest of all time. Greatest of all time.
We know you're humble, but sometimes you got to step up.
Yes.
It's a lifetime achievement.
I think so much of my career was about kind of getting to the world record or seeing if I can do that. But once you do that, it does have that feeling of like, what's next? But for me, I think it's changed so much. Trying to break this mold of the athletes that get promoted in our sport. I think that is kind of what really drives me the most, and kind of wanting to be that face, still show the black, dark-skinned face at the top, and to help further break these molds of it being easier for lighter athletes or even white athletes. I think the media in general has to do a much better job at promoting athletes and sharing that space. So many of us work so hard and so many of our stories are untold. So I think the media honestly does a terrible job. I'm honored to be one of those athletes that are talked about, but there's so many athletes that aren't. I feel like I have been in situations and that have just been unfortunate, especially as a Black female athlete and someone that's Muslim. I think I've had very rude questions being asked me in terms of my religion even, or just being called out of not being a real Muslim because I don't wear head coverings. And for the most part, I think it has been all positive, but there's definitely those type of feedback that you do receive and that almost even make you question yourself. But I think for me, it's just kind of been trying to find my true self and to live my true self regardless of what others. And I think once I kind of had that idea in mind, I saw myself more so as a role model and to show other girls that it's okay, you can look like me and call yourself a Muslim and do whatever you want to do in the world.
You attack the ground. Good, the good extension of the hip.
But on a day-to-day basis, I find inspiration from everywhere to keep going, and that's just what you have to do.